uh, and that makes them kind of useless. So maybe if we want to cut down on school shootings, we need to cut back on schools. Let's cut the Department of Education. What do you think? I mean, I think what the NRA is trying to tell us is that guns don't kill people, schools kill people. Let's eliminate education because God knows it's not doing much good. Look how many people voted for Trump. True, it wasn't enough people to win him an election, but he only needed 270 people to vote for him because that's the way the United States works. If you get 270 votes, then it doesn't matter how many people vote for the other person because you still win the presidency. Now, is that a screwed up system or what? Maybe we need to think about the Constitution a little bit more. Yeah, sure. The NRA thinks a lot about politics. I mean, in the last 10 years, they spent $100 million in campaign financing. In 2016, they spent $50 million. That's a lot of money for one election, but they had a lot of help from the Russians. And that made them the biggest campaign spenders ever. And that's cheap because gun makers make billions of dollars every year. I mean, they're pouring money into races that will benefit only Republicans because Republicans care more about covering up for dead babies than any other party in the world. The president of the NRA is Oliver North. Oliver North, I mean, some of you maybe remember him. He was the guy who was convicted of perjury for lying on behalf of Republican President Ronald Reagan. So, yeah, he really does love the Republican Party. And so it's not surprising that he will not support any party that actually gives a damn about anyone who isn't rich. Now, here's a public service announcement. I'm required to read this because I mentioned uh, the NRA. The National Rifle Association of America is an American nonprofit organization that advocates for gun rights regardless of how many people are killed. Profits matter more than people after all. Okay, so that's good to know. Um, the NRA is, of course, one of the largest lobbying groups in Washington, and they can do that because corporations have more rights than human beings. That's the law, too. I've been saying for a long time that what we need is a constitutional amendment that says corporations are not people. Anything that looks like a corporation is not a person. A corporation is a box of paperwork that sits in a room. Usually it's locked in a vault, but yeah, that's what a corporation is. A corporation is not the people that work for it. Okay? Let's get that clearly established. Uh, Now, the Institute for Legislative Action, which is the lobbying branch of the NRA, was established in 1975. Who knew that it went back that far? And the Political Victory Fund that they established was established the following year. And it has been ranked as one of the biggest spenders in congressional elections ever since then. And they helped rig the election for George Bush by paying for his legal team. You remember that? That was the team that said he had the right to be president more than you have the right to vote. And because of that, he was appointed president by the United States Supreme Court, who ruled that your vote doesn't matter. Obviously, the NRA has more than a few critics, but Jeff Sessions isn't one of them. Attorney General Jeff Beauregard Sessions, who is a former Confederate general, so he just kind of kept the title. He announced the formation of the Religious Liberty Task Force uh, to, quote, help the department fully implement our religious guidance. Religious guidance? What? You need guidance for the missionary position now? Jap, get out more. Watch a porno or something. Well, Sessions said that the goal of the task force will be, quote, protecting religious groups from persecution, unquote, which of course means that he's going to ignore persecution of evil unbelievers like me, because it should be okay to persecute someone if they're the wrong religion, right? Or have no religion. Boy, that's especially when you want to be persecuting people. Let's see. Here. The task force will help the department fully implement our religious liberty guidance. There's that word again. You know, men don't need guidance. You ever driven with one? They never stop to ask for directions. So there is no guidance here. There's simply a dictatorship. And, oh, wait a minute, I'm interrupting. Uh, implement our religious liberty guidance by ensuring that all Justice Department components are upholding that guidance. He likes to guide people, doesn't he? He's a very controlling person. In the cases that they bring and defend, the arguments they make in court, the policies and regulations they adopt, and how we conduct our operations, he said. And that includes making sure that our employees know their duties to accommodate people of faith and screw over anybody who is the wrong faith or has no faith. Because screw atheists, screw agnostics, screw Wiccans and Buddhists and Hindus and the rest, because they're the wrong faith. That's pretty much the official purpose of the Justice Department now. Oh, this is my favorite line. A dangerous movement undetected by many, he said. Hey, if it's invisible, how do you know it's moving? I mean, does it have diarrhea? Is it now challenging and he says it is now challenging and eroding our great tradition of religious freedom. You know, and he says there can be no doubt. This is no little matter. It must be confronted and defeated. Well, what is it that we're supposed to confront and defeat? We don't have a name for this movement. I mean, how do you confront an invisible, unnamed movement? I mean, what about my basic right to know the name of the movement and who's in it? You got any confessions, photos, videos, snitches, any rags, any bones, any bottles today? Apparently not. But the Religious Task Force, he said, there's that word force again, Religious Liberty Task Force, rather, will continue the department's ongoing to implement the Religious Liberty Memorandum. And who knew that there was a memorandum? Did you know? I did not know. This was not properly publicized. Well, whatever this secret memorandum was, he says that it also will implement the implementation memorandum. What? Another secret memorandum. How many secret memorandums does this guy have? This is starting to sound really ominous. He says the task force will also consider new initiatives that will further the department's work to protect and promote, you guessed it, religious liberties. This sounds like it was lifted whole cloth out of the preface of The Handmaid's Tale. I mean, give me a break, Jeff. I mean, if you're going to start running around kicking people's doors in because they don't worship the same invisible man that you do, then maybe you should start calling yourself something other than an attorney. How about calling yourself what you really are, a frickin' Nazi. Well, this is just another in a long line of thinly veiled attempts by to sanction discrimination in uh, in all kinds of areas, including healthcare and the rights of women, the LGBTQ community, and other communities. Amanda Marquette says in Salon.com, quote, civil liberties proponents believe this task force is yet another effort to step up religious discrimination and oppression of people who aren't Christian conservatives. Well, no shit. I mean, thank you, Captain Obvious. I mean, I think everybody knows that the task force is going to devote its resources to finding religious conservatives who want to use excuses to discriminate against people, to discriminate against women or LGBTQ people, and then say, well, we need our religious liberty, and that's why we do these things. That's why we discriminate against other people, to defend ourselves from discrimination. You know, that's like saying, I shot 32 people, Your Honor, but I was afraid for my life. Yeah, right. Well, this is just an open assault on the First Amendment, isn't it? I should tell you, I'm just going to interject something here. You know, Sinclair Lewis said that when fascism comes to America, it'll be wrapped in the flag and carrying a cross. Well, today, that prophecy is fulfilled. But let's make no mistake, fascism will still be promoting gun sales. You got a 3D printer to make them for free? Well, that cuts into sales, so you got to be stopped, you dirty commie. People who can't afford guns don't have any Second Amendment rights anyway, right? I mean, that's how things work. If you can't afford it, you don't have the rights. If you can't afford to defend your rights in court, you don't have those rights. That's the way it is. And I'm going to wind up this show by making a little observation that has nothing to do with guns, although it did have something to do with healthcare. Personally, my healthcare. I am really glad to be here. I am glad to be pretty much anywhere. Some of you may notice that this show aired a little bit later this Sunday than ordinary. That's because, well, I had a heart attack and wound up in the hospital, which was not a lot of fun, but there you go. And but the doctors there were pretty good, and they managed to patch me up and kick me out the door. Thankfully, I had some health insurance. Not that the Donald will give a shit, but yeah, I had some. So Obamacare still does work to a small degree. At least it did for me. I pity people who it doesn't work for anymore. Just winding up this last minute, I'm going to say, give a shout out to the YZ show. The host of that show was really nice, and we had a nice little chat on Facebook the other day. And who else? Oh, I guess I'm going to just wind up by saying thanks for listening, and please keep tuning in every Sunday. Same wacky time, same wacky channel. This is Jennifer Warren for the Professional Dreamers, and I am out of here.